Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here, of course, at QNT, Quant, seeing what's going on. And when we looked at this last, it was ascending perfectly with this ascending trend line, and it hasn't broken since. Obviously, there's one day of correction, but it's looking very good. So what we want to look at is kind of some candlestick patterns and understand just generally how to approach a coin that's progressing like this. All right, so if you are new to the channel, not a financial advisor, love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today if you want to become a better trader. CryptoCash.tech is a site. Link in the description below. You can effectively become a better trader by attending my Trading Signals Academy and also just engaging in conversation with our community. We got over 200 active traders, day traders, swing traders, everything in between, and they're all very, very cool and extremely helpful. Like everyone just kind of bands together. It's really awesome. And if you take a look at some of these trade results here recently, we can see there's a lot of benefit. So take a look here. We can see Blessed Acres. He's starting to step it up a notch here again. We got King D, 116% on Ethereum. And then of course, take a look at Blessed Acres again, back in the game with 125x, which is very risky, by the way. Don't necessarily recommend that, but he took 151%. So again, that's just kind of part of what we do as a community. And then on top of that, I send out signals for every single trade that I take so you can learn how to structure your trades effectively. We have an excellent bear market strategy right now. It's doing very well. And it's just really cool to be able to experience all this with other traders. So check that out again if you'd like. So here's the thing with QNT. We've got some overextension. We're gonna kind of take a look at that because when coins are moving, quote unquote, parabolically like we're seeing right now, it's important to recognize that there's going to be a pullback eventually. Okay. Now, in that regard, logic would tell you that we are probably pretty overextended just looking at this from the outside looking in. Just generally speaking, from a bird's eye view, we can see that there's a significant overextension. But we want to see how significant that is and if there's support levels reaffirming this. Okay. Now, speaking of support, right here at about 180 or 179, there's a previous resistance / support area back in 2021, roughly about a year ago, you could say, just shy of, or a little over a year. That was an area, and then the price just blasted off out of nowhere from there. Okay. So just keep that in mind. That's roughly a pretty strong support level now because the fact that it was a resistance in the past. Right? So again, you want to kind of think about the big picture and generally speaking what happens with previous support and resistance levels. It looks like it retested it yesterday and bounced off as a nice, strong support. So we got that kind of going for us there. So if the price were to pull back, just know 180 would essentially be a likely support zone. Now, when we come and take a look at the RSI, we're well over 70 on the RSI, and the standard rule of thumb for being over 70 on the RSI is to not sell your position until the RSI starts to come back down. So it's still on its way up, so hypothetically you'd want to keep your position open, your long position open, if you have one. Again, that's just based on the RSI. You never make a decision based on one indicator. We're going to look at everything to help understand, a statistical probability of it going up or down from here. But at this point, it is still increasing. That's typically a positive sign. Just note that if it starts to kind of taper off and come back down, that usually is a signal to kind of sell your position based on the RSI, kind of the rules that RSI works. Because again, there's no resistance at 70 anymore, right? We're 70 plus. That's kind of part of the thing. Another thing to also recognize here is that this is still increasing as well, implying that we could see further upside. Now, the likelihood of further upside, just based on, just looking at the big picture here and how much it's ascended in the recent past, tells me we are due for a pullback. I think it's just the natural laws of trading that's going to kind of do that for us. But generally speaking here, on the daily, we got mostly positive stuff, minus the overextension. And what we want to look at here too as well is you can see the 20-day set moving average working concurrent with this ascending trend, still holding strong. So long story short here, we can extend out this trend line and kind of just see what happens with it eventually, because it's probably going to be able to continue work as a support eventually. We're not close to getting that to retest that, of course, but generally speaking, we're above all moving averages, and that's positive. Okay, so mostly positive here on the daily. The last thing I want to look at is TD sequential, and this tells us, based on a series of numbers, when you hit a 9, you typically experience a pullback or a retracement. In other words, consolidation can occur when you hit a 9, and there's case in point where it can keep going as well. So I know it seems contradictory because obviously it can go anywhere it wants, but generally speaking, when you see a 9, it's supposed to perform like this. You see how the price comes up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days in a row of green action. Price action pulls back, goes sideways, consolidates at support, continues to ascend on this trend line and comes up higher. Okay, so we got enough time here to consolidate, which is kind of good. It gave us, a little 4-day reset. That's a perfect amount of time for the next leg up. So the next leg up continues up to a 9, which we saw yesterday, and now today's extreme overtime. So what likely happened is probably some short squeeze type of situation where the price action continued much higher than it should have, based on the fact that a lot of shorts were expecting the price to pull back, and it didn't. So generally speaking, with us being at a 9 plus, we can expect the price to turn itself around likely soon. Because when you see a 9 on TD sequential on the daily, that's even more of a red flag for the price action to decrease in value. So it might be a decent shorting opportunity here soon. Let's see if what we're looking at here. And just to touch on that support level that I mentioned, that 180, you can see it working strong as a nice support before the next leg up. That's a very common occurrence, especially in price discovery, which we kind of are for this year. When the price breaks a key level resistance and it comes back down to test it as a support, you can expect another bounce. And that's exactly what happened here. So taking a look at the RSI, also overextended. You can see it's kind of working its way down, but has another leg up. So generally speaking, if I were in this trade, I would have taken my profits by now, or majority of my profits, and left a little bit left to ride. Because again, you're getting kind of greedy expecting to go higher. It's just kind of the bottom line here. So when it comes to the, everything here, it's overextended and everything's continuing higher, but these are some fairly healthy continuation patterns. So not to say this most recent increase wasn't warranted, but it does imply that we should see a pullback soon, because even with this much consolidation, that is an overextension. If we look, just say really quick here at the volume weighted average price, we can see that we got overextended previously here, and it had to pull back, and we're outside those standard deviation lines. So again, just some things to kind of put in the forefront of your mind. Hey, we became overextended, it's pulling back. There's a likelihood of further downside here in that regard, okay? Now, again, there's no guarantees, but generally speaking, that's kind of what we're looking at. TD sequential, let's also look at this here. We can see previously we came up to a 9, right? We hit basically 2 9s, one on the daily, one on the 4-hour, and got that consolidation period, which is perfect. Come up to a 7, got a reset up to a 6, another reset, now we're up to a 7. So hypothetically, based on its continuation patterns, it's hitting 7s, 6s, and 9s pretty consistently. So hypothetically, if we, this being like the second or third 7, we should expect the price action to turn around soon, likely within the next 8 to 12 hours. Okay, and I say 8 to 12 because that would put us at a 9 plus 1, and that in general it would be too much. Okay, so I feel like a short on QNT soon might be appropriate. That's just my speculation here, but you do what you want with it. So again, 4 hours is looking fairly overextended, even though it is healthy overextension, it's still an overextension nonetheless, okay? Take a look at the 1 hour. What we want to look at, of course, is the cloud. All green lights here to leave your long position open. Another 12 hours, potentially close your long and consider a short. That's basically what it's saying. Keep in mind, it's a very conservative indicator, but at this point, kind of giving us some green lights there to leave your position open. And we can see that we've hit some 9s previously. We got a 9 again recently with some extreme overtime and a slight reset back up to a 3. So once again, we've got, 7, 8 more hours roughly of continuation of the upside left. So I would say in another 8 hours, if the price is still the exact same as it was before, I would expect a leg down versus a leg up. In other words, it's just too overextended, can only sustain that price point for so long. Last thing I want to draw to your attention is just the fact that we have 5 white soldiers. I'm kidding, that's really not a candlestick pattern. It's typically 3 white soldiers. And what the 3 white soldiers imply, which we can see them starting here, because it's usually the larger candlesticks that are considered to be part of that 3 white soldier pattern. What we want to see is essentially 3 strong green candles, right? Followed by a 4th red day. That's a very common characteristic. So we are at 3 white soldiers right now, if you exclude the first 2, which are kind of small. Then in that case, we can expect the price to turn itself around tomorrow. So to me, in the next 8 to 12 hours, we should see a pullback. It would be advantageous to consider perhaps a short position to allow for the price action to come back down. And I would just say make sure it's fairly tight profit targets. I don't think QNT is going to drop like a rock. It seems very healthy and very, very good in the overall sense of things. I mean, you see this amount of volume. The volume is supporting the amount of price action, okay? So sometimes betting against the volume can be problematic. All right. So again, mostly positive here for QNT. I think even though it's positive in the overall sense of things, we're extremely overextended on a lot of different time frames, and that kind of screams to me some kind of pullback could and should occur soon. It may not happen right now, but in the next 8 to 12 hours, I think it's pretty likely we're going to see this thing turn around. So that is the 2 cents that I have here for QNT. I hope that it was informative and makes sense to you. I also forgot to preface this as well. Make sure you join using my link in the description below, Bitget. They are a phenomenal exchange. I use them exclusively. Our community members also do as well, because we have this competition with a $10,000 prize pool monthly, and it's a 2-week competition. Essentially allows for you to take a decent amount of extra profits there just for trading on the exchange. Okay, so it's a really fun little competition. There's a profit and loss ratio. There's a volume as well. So if you take a look here, you can see some of my members. One guy's doing very good at 58% profit and loss ratio, and then we can see trading volume is increasing. So you get benefits just for trading, right? So a lot of cool stuff. Make sure you use the link in the description below. Also, if you are in the United States, Bitget is preparing for regulation. So you make sure just to list other as your country of residence, so you're not disqualified in the sense of being able to use this exchange, because it's totally worth it. All right, again, check the link in the description below. Be sure to check that out in your own time. So for now, that's kind of where we're at. Hopefully this was informative. I once again thank you so much for joining me here. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.